Quick question. If I gave you a strip of concrete 2 feet wide and told you to feed yourself off it all summer, would you laugh at me? Most people would. Because we've been taught that a real vegetable garden needs a real yard, rows, tilled soil, maybe a fence to keep the rabbits out. And if you don't have that, the assumption is you're stuck buying everything from the store. Here's the thing nobody tells beginners. The size of your harvest has almost nothing to do with the size of your floor space. It has everything to do with how much of the air above that floor space you're actually using. Today I'm walking you through 15 vegetables that were basically built for growing up instead of out. Plants that will turn one small tower, one railing, or one sunny wall into something that keeps handing you food for months. Number 1 on this list is a plant most people plant totally wrong, and fixing that one mistake alone could double what you pull off it. Stick around for that one. Let's get into it. Number 15, bush green beans. Here's a mistake I see constantly. People buy pole beans for a small tower, and by midsummer the vines have swallowed 3 other plants and half a railing. Bush beans solve that before it starts. Unlike their climbing cousins, bush varieties are bred to stop growing outward after a certain point. They're genetically capped, basically, which means they give you a full bean harvest without ever needing a trellis or eating into a neighboring pocket. Give each plant its own pocket, roughly 20 to 25 centimeters deep, somewhere in the middle tier where they'll get good light without drying out every afternoon. Look for compact varieties bred specifically for containers. They're usually labeled bush or dwarf right on the seed packet, which is your cue. The trick with harvesting: pick the pods while they still snap cleanly in half. The second they start looking swollen or leathery, the plant slows down production because it thinks its job is done. Keep picking, and it keeps making more. One tidy little bush, tucked into one pocket, quietly producing handfuls of beans all season without ever asking for more room than it started with. Number 14, baby bok choy. Bok choy has a reputation for bolting, shooting up a flower stalk and turning bitter the second the weather warms up. That reputation is mostly earned by full-size varieties grown in the wrong conditions. Baby bok choy sidesteps the whole problem. Because you're harvesting it small and young, you're getting it off the plant before heat stress ever becomes an issue. It's less a vegetable you grow to maturity, and more a vegetable you're constantly intercepting early. A pocket about 15 centimeters deep is plenty, since the root system stays compact. Position it where it gets strong morning light, but some relief in the hottest part of the afternoon. An east-facing side of your tower is ideal if you have the option. For harvesting, you've got 2 moves. Snip the outer leaves individually and let the center keep producing, or cut the whole rosette about 2 centimeters above the soil and wait for a smaller regrowth. Either way works. The plant is forgiving. Small, fast, and almost impossible to mess up if you keep the harvest coming before the heat does. Number 13, Malabar spinach. This one trips people up because of the name. Malabar spinach isn't related to regular spinach at all. It's a vining plant that happens to have spinach-like leaves, and it thrives in exactly the conditions that kill true spinach: heat and humidity. That makes it the plant you reach for when your regular greens have already bolted and quit for the summer. While everything cool season is struggling, this thing is climbing. Give it the tallest support you have in your setup and a deep pocket, at least 25 centimeters, because it's putting on serious vertical growth and needs the root space to fuel it. Train the young vine onto your trellis early. Once it catches on, it climbs on its own with almost no help. Harvest by pinching the tender growing tips and young leaves regularly. This actually does double duty. It keeps the plant productive and keeps it from getting leggy and sparse at the base. If your summer greens usually die off in July, this is the plant that quietly takes over that job without you doing anything different. Number 12, mustard greens. If you've never grown mustard greens, the speed is what will surprise you. Some varieties are ready for a baby leaf harvest in under 3 weeks, which makes this one of the fastest returns on any pocket in your entire tower. Because the plant grows so quickly, it also doesn't demand much root depth. A shallow pocket, around 12 centimeters, is enough to keep it happy. Place it somewhere it'll get consistent moisture, because a plant growing this fast needs steady water to avoid stress bolting. Here's a flavor tip worth knowing. The younger the leaf, the milder the mustard kick. Let it grow a bit longer, and the flavor gets noticeably sharper and more peppery. That means one pocket can actually give you two different ingredients depending on when you cut it. Sow a new pocket every couple of weeks, and you'll never run out. By the time one batch gets too spicy for salads, the next one's just hitting that perfect mild stage. Number 11. Green onions or scallions. This is the plant I recommend to people who think they've never successfully grown anything. Because green onions barely need soil depth, barely need space, and this is the fun part. You can start them from the root, ends you'd normally throw away. The root system is thin and shallow, so a pocket as small as 10 centimeters deep works fine, and you can pack several into one small space since they don't compete much for room. Position doesn't matter as much with this one. They'll tolerate more shade than most vegetables on this list, which makes them a great filler for that one dim corner of your tower nothing else wants to grow in. Harvest by cutting the green tops a couple of centimeters above the base instead of pulling the whole plant. The base keeps regenerating new growth, so a single planting can keep producing trimmable greens for months. It's the closest thing on this list to a vegetable that pays for itself and then just keeps going. Number 10. Kohlrabi. Kohlrabi confuses a lot of first-time growers because visually it looks like it should be a root vegetable. It isn't. The swollen part you eat forms right at the base of the stem, sitting mostly above the soil line, which is actually great news for container growers because it means the plant doesn't need deep soil to bulk up. A pocket around 18 centimeters is enough, and because the bulb develops above ground, you can literally watch its progress day to day without digging around to check. Space is the one thing to respect here. Give each plant enough room that the bulb can swell without bumping into a neighbor, since crowding will stunt it. Harvest when the bulb is roughly the size of a tennis ball. Wait too long and it turns woody instead of crisp. This is one vegetable where bigger is not better. It's an odd-looking plant, but it might be the single most space-efficient bulb vegetable you can grow in a container. Number 9. Baby turnips. Most people who've only had grocery store turnips assume they're a rough, storage crop kind of vegetable. Baby turnips, pulled young, are a completely different food, sweet, tender, almost radish-like. Because you're harvesting early rather than letting the root fully mature, the plant only needs a modest pocket, around 15 to 18 centimeters. Direct sow the seeds since turnips, like most root vegetables, don't love being transplanted. The part people miss. Turnip greens are just as edible as the root, and often better for you nutritionally. When you thin your seedlings, don't discard what you pull. Those thinnings go straight into a salad or a quick sauté. Harvest the roots once they're about golf ball sized. Leave them in the ground too long, and they get the woody, peppery bite that gave turnips their bad reputation in the first place. One pocket, two separate ingredients, and neither one takes more than a few weeks to be ready. Number 8. Dwarf okra. Every vertical garden has one pocket that gets brutal, unrelenting afternoon sun, the spot where lettuce wilts and spinach bolts within days. Dwarf okra is the plant for exactly that pocket, because it genuinely performs better in heat that most vegetables consider hostile. Standard okra varieties get tall and demand serious root space, but dwarf types stay compact while still producing a steady stream of pods. Give it your deepest available pocket on this list, around 25 to 30 centimeters, since even the dwarf varieties want room to anchor themselves. Full sun, and don't overthink the watering. This plant tolerates dry stretches far better than most of what's on this countdown. Harvest pods when they're young, roughly finger length. Okra left on the plant too long turns tough and fibrous almost overnight, so check it every couple of days once it starts producing. If you've got a scorched, forgotten corner of your setup, this is the plant that turns it into your most productive pocket instead of your worst one. Number 7. Baby collard greens. Collards have a reputation as a big, sprawling plant that takes up a whole garden bed. Grown for baby leaves instead of full maturity, though they behave completely differently, compact, fast, and perfectly suited to a single pocket. They also handle cold better than almost anything else on this list, which makes them your extended season plant, the one still producing after other pockets have finished for the year. A pocket around 20 centimeters deep gives the roots enough room, and this plant does well in a partially shaded position since it doesn't need blazing sun to develop good flavor. Harvest the outer leaves as they reach about the size of your hand, always leaving the center growing point untouched. Damage that center point and the plant stops producing new leaves entirely. Even if the roots are perfectly healthy, so be gentle with your cuts. It's the plant that keeps your tower green after everything else has started slowing down for the season. Number 6. Mini eggplant. Don't let the word mini fool you into thinking this plant is low maintenance. The fruit is small, but the root system underneath still wants real depth and real nutrition. This is one of the more demanding plants on this list, and skipping that fact is the most common way people end up with a sad, stunted eggplant. Reserve your largest compartment for it, something equivalent to a 5-gallon container's worth of soil. One plant per compartment, full stop. This isn't a vegetable you crowd. Start seedlings early indoors, since eggplant is slow out of the gate, and only move it outside once nights have reliably warmed up. Once it's established, stake it. A plant loaded with fruit can lean and snap in wind if it's not supported. Harvest while the skin is still glossy. The moment it turns dull, the fruit has gone past its best texture and starts developing more seeds and bitterness. It asks more of you than most plants on this countdown, but a compact eggplant loaded with small purple fruit is one of the most satisfying things you can grow in a container. Number 5. Scarlet runner beans. This is the plant on the list that does 2 jobs simultaneously. The pods are edible and productive just like any climbing bean, but the flowers are a genuine hummingbird and pollinator draw, which means this one plant can noticeably boost pollination for everything else in your tower just by being nearby. It's a vigorous climber, so give it your tallest support and a deep pocket, around 25 centimeters, to anchor that growth. Once it gets going, it climbs fast, so have the trellis in place before you sow, not after. Pick the pods while they're young and tender for eating fresh. If you let a few mature fully instead, you can shell out the seeds and use them like a dry bean. So a single plant can give you 2 different foods depending on your patience. Between the harvest and the flowers pulling in pollinators for your peppers, tomatoes, and squash, this plant is doing more work than its single pocket would suggest. Number 4. Compact vertical zucchini. Standard zucchini plants sprawl aggressively. They'll take over a garden bed on their own. But breeders have developed genuinely compact, more upright varieties specifically for small space growing. And paired with a simple support to keep the main stem vertical, they perform almost identically to their sprawling cousins in a fraction of the footprint. This one needs your biggest compartment. Think a 5-gallon equivalent minimum, because the fruit production is heavy and the roots need to support it. Because zucchini flowers are short-lived and open for only part of the day, hand pollination with a small brush can meaningfully boost your yield if you notice fruit not setting on their own, especially in a container where fewer pollinators may be passing through. Harvest the fruit small and often. Once a zucchini gets oversized, the plant slows down, thinking it's accomplished its goal. Frequent small harvests keep it producing continuously instead. It's proof that sprawling plant and small container aren't automatically incompatible. Sometimes it's just a matter of picking the right variety and giving it a direction to grow. Number 3. Pole, or climbing, snap beans. If bush beans earlier on this list were about staying tidy, pole beans are about squeezing out maximum yield from minimum footprint, because unlike a bush variety that stops growing at a set size, a pole variety keeps climbing and keeps producing for the entire season as long as you keep harvesting. Give it your tallest trellis and a deep pocket, roughly 25 centimeters, since the root system needs to support months of continuous growth rather than one concentrated flush. The productivity secret here is picking constantly. A pole bean plant left unharvested for even a week will start redirecting its energy into maturing the seeds inside existing pods instead of making new ones. So frequent, almost daily picking during peak season is what keeps the vine in production mode. Because the growth is entirely vertical, one plant occupying a single small pocket can realistically outproduce several sprawling bush plants combined, simply because it's using height that would otherwise sit empty. If total yield per pocket is what you care about most, this is one of the strongest performers on the entire list. Number 2. Dwarf patio tomatoes. Tomatoes have a reputation for needing a huge garden bed, and full-size indeterminate varieties genuinely do sprawl and demand serious space. Dwarf and patio varieties were bred specifically to break that rule. Compact plants that still produce full-flavored fruit, just at a smaller overall scale. Give this one your largest compartment, equivalent to at least a 5-gallon container, and only one plant per pocket. The root system, while more contained than a full-size tomatoes, still wants room to work. Consistency is everything here. Irregular watering, letting the soil dry out completely, then flooding it, is the #1 cause of cracked fruit and blossom end rot in container tomatoes. Aim for even, steady moisture rather than a feast or famine schedule. Pinch off the very earliest flowers if the plant is still small when they appear. That lets it put energy into root and stem development first, which pays off with a stronger plant and more fruit later in the season. A compact tomato plant loaded with fruit might be the single most satisfying thing you can point to in your entire tower. It's the one people never believe was grown in a pocket that small. #1. Trellised cucumbers. Here's the mistake I promised you at the top of this video. Most people who fail with container cucumbers don't fail because of soil, water, or sunlight. They fail because they let the vine sprawl across the surface of the pot instead of training it upward from the very beginning. And a sprawling vine in a small container runs out of room, tangles with its own leaves, and produces a fraction of what it's capable of. Trained vertically from the start, that exact same plant becomes one of the most productive things you can grow in a small space. The vine climbs instead of spreading. The fruit hangs cleanly in the open air instead of resting on damp soil, and every leaf gets exposure to light instead of shading out the leaves below it. Give it your deepest, largest compartment, a 5-gallon equivalent at minimum, and install the trellis before the plant needs it, not after it's already flopped over. Gently guide the first few tendrils onto the support. Once they catch on, the plant takes over the climbing on its own. Check the vine every day or two once fruit starts forming. Cucumbers left too long past their ideal size turn the plant's attention towards seed production instead of making new fruit. So frequent small harvests are what keep the vine cranking out cucumber after cucumber. Trained correctly, from one small pocket, a single cucumber vine can outproduce almost anything else on this entire list, which is exactly why it earns the top spot. So here's what I hope you're taking away from all 15 of these. None of this required a bigger yard. None of it required more soil than you can fit in a corner of a balcony. What changed the outcome, every single time, was choosing a plant that actually wants to grow the way your space allows it to grow. A vertical tower isn't 15 separate mini gardens. It's one system where every pocket is doing a different job. Some plants are racing to finish in 3 weeks. Some are settling in for the whole season. Some are working the air above the pot instead of the soil inside it. And the moment one pocket finishes, it's not empty space anymore. It's an opportunity for whatever comes next. If you've been putting off starting something like this because you don't think you have real garden space, you might have more productive space sitting on your balcony right now than you realize. So tell me, out of these 15, which one are you planting first? Drop it in the comments. And if you've already got a vertical setup running, I want to hear what's working for you, because honestly, half of what I know came from other people's comment sections. If this helped, a like goes a long way, and subscribe if you want more of this kind of practical, no-fluff growing content. Thanks for watching. Get out there, get something growing, and I'll see you in the next one.